for the layout, we're not going to do arrows. Just because I personally don't like the arrows inside of the shift, if that makes sense. Don't get me wrong, I like Irisu. I just don't like the spring arrows. The bear I use is Irisu. I love Irisus. But there's something about arrow keys being like, hey guys, let me in, let me through. You know, it just looks kind of weird. If you haven't heard of this board, it is Neo Ergo is Neo's take on a ergonomic tinted Alice. It's highly anticipated because we had the Type K earlier this year, and this is Neo's take on the tinted Alice. I think there's been a few more, but this is the most affordable one because I think Type K ended up being pretty pricey. So mine was wrapped in this nice plastic. In terms of case colors, there are 13 case colors. You have the 5 spray coated, and then you have 8 of the anodized. So the navy one that I have is anodized. But in terms of anodized, you have black, gray, silver, champagne, baby blue, navy, purple, and green. And then for spray coated, you have white, retro white. So those two don't have glitter. And then you have cream, avocado, and red. And those 3 do have glitter. For the weight options, you have black, silver, golden, copper, M silver, M dusk, M chroma, M being like a mirror finish. So you have 7 different weights. For the badges, you have PVD silver, PVD black, PVD golden, and then you have copper. And then for the kernel, you have black, silver, golden, red. So I have the navy unit. This is going to be anodized. This one looks like the golden weight. Let's see, all the accessories are in here. But here you have it. Here you can see where the tent is. When you look at the USB port side, you can really see it. Here's the front. It's not a traditional Alice layout. Here you have the 4 keys, right? And then the arrow keys are actually inside. There is an extra key right here. So I don't know if you guys have seen like the spring, which is another Alice board, but very similar. Not quite the same, but similar. And then here are, I'm assuming are gonna be the indicators. Here's the side, here's the back. So here you have the weight, and then you have the branding, the Neo branding right there. The 4 feet, here's a USB port side. So it's really neat. It almost kind of reminds me of like geometric, isometric shapes. It's nice. You can see that the USB part has like a nice accent right there. And then here is the front lip. And then here you can see where it's like actually tinted, right? So similar to the other Neo line boards, it does use the ball catch mechanic, which is pretty nice. Easy to assemble and disassemble. This part that you see right here, this is the kernel. So the kernel, meaning like where the USB port side is, this is what helps it like lift up, or the tint. Because if you were to take this kernel off, this part right here would just be flat. But then when you add this kernel, you can see the tint right there. But looking at the internals, so you do have the pogo magnetic connectors right here. You have this bar, and I'm guessing this is the part that keeps up the PCBs. But yeah, so this is the kernel, and then you can get different colors for these. So you can get 4 different colors. So if you want like the different accent right here, the different kernel, this one's golden, but you can get black, silver, golden, or red. So 4 different. And then if you look at the corners on the bottom case, you can see there is this like silicone piece right here. And this is actually a screw point. It goes over the screw. Essentially, guess that these act as like a force brake, and also to prevent the top case from moving around, because with the ball catch mechanism, there's nothing to really like fully secure and like keep it down and from not shifting, because you need some leeway, right? And so this just helps like extra security. Here, there's a switch right here, so I'm guessing it's if you want to do tri-mode or whatnot. Here you can see there is another silicone strip right here, and I'm guessing it's the same thing as these. And then same for this piece right here. So looking at the top case, so this would be the ball catch mechanics. Here are the indicators cutouts. Top case is pretty straightforward, I would say. All the walls from the boards come from the top piece, whereas the bottom piece is a bit more like open. You can see there's like no tall walls. To get the, I guess, quote, tent part, it comes from the kernel, which you can see on the outside on the USB port. So for PCBs, you have tri-mode non-flex cut hot swap, and then you have wired non-flex cut hot swap, and then you have a solder non-flex cut. So all non-flux cut, 2 hot swap with both tri-mode or wired, and then you have a solder. So this mid piece doesn't have any anchors, it's just held down by the screws. There's actually one more screw underneath. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 if you count this mid piece. Okay. Woo! And it's off. Neat. Okay. So this is what we're working with underneath. You have this gigantic piece, right, for the USB. Here you have the 2 magnetic connectors that are connected to this bigger piece underneath, I'm assuming. And then here you have the 2 batteries, right? So there are, it looks like 3 screws keeping this in place. This is the contraption of a unit down below. So you have this big daughter board right here. And then the 2 pogo connectors are connected via ribbon. And then the 2 batteries are also connected to the daughter board, right? And the reason why you have the 2 separate is because it uses 2 separate PCBs. Tenting angle is 5 degrees, typing angle is 8 degrees. Here you have the foam, so you have the PE or you have the plate foam. It does have case foam as well. Here is the PCB. So with an Ergo Alice, it does use split. We're gonna have to break them off. I hate it. Oh my goodness. Oh! First one has been broken. Okay, but here are the PCBs. So we have broken them off. All the points to break off are on the side. There's none in the middle, right? There's nothing securing it right here. It's mostly on this side. If you decide to order this and you get this, if you notice that it feels like a little flimsy, it's because there's nothing holding it in place here, right? It's only going to be on the sides right here. So here you can see where the magnetic connectors would go, the pogo. And then this one is the hot swapped tri-mode. So here are the indicators. You have a choice of splitting the left shift. You can do steps or regular caps. And then here you can have like the different bottom row layouts if you would like. So you can do split or regular backspace. And then here has the weird layout here where you can do either the arrows or you could just do like the shift and then like the normal keys. And then here you have the different space bar option as well. And here are the tabs for the gaskets in case you guys were wondering what these tabs were for. Okay, so with the separate PCBs, you also have separate plates. I have Alu, POM, and FR4. Interesting packaging. They've split it off like this, but it's still just one piece like that. Whoa. And before you guys are like, what are those flux cuts? They're not flux cuts, they're actually diffusers. They're for these. Aside from thinking a tinted Ergo, it also has RGB diffusers in the cracks of the board. So this is my bear. And you see these cracks right here that are they're just common with like Alice's and split boards. They've implemented RGB lights in here, and that you can see through the plates. You put diffusers through here for the lights. Neat. So instead of having just these like dark void into darkness, you can have RGB. So that is what you are seeing right here. This is where the diffusers would go in for the lighting. And then we have a wrist rest. With the tinted Ergos, having a wrist rest is always really nice. I don't want to say it's like unusable, but with the tinted, it makes it a little harder to use without a wrist rest, in my opinion, unless you're really good at like hovering. I have this wrist rest. I think it comes with 2. You can either get the cherry wood or you can get the acrylic, and they sent me the acrylic. I don't like the coiled cables, so I appreciate that they don't give us the coiled cable ones. It probably saves space too. The foam also has the cutout for the diffusers. So the cheapest configuration, it's going to be starting at 130, which you can do plateless. And it's because the gaskets are seen on the PCB and not on the plate. And then the most expensive, if you decide to do that, is going to be $188. So pretty freaking insane for the price. And then for the wrist rests, those are $20 a pop. So for the acrylic or for the cherry wood. And then for the plates, you can get PC, PP, POM, Alu, FR4, or carbon fiber, so 6 plate options. The PCBs, you have 3 options. You have tri-mode hot swap, wired hot swap, or solder. The tri-mode will be 55, the wired will be 50 for the hot swaps, and then the solder will be 45. Did I ever tell you guys why I don't like burning candles? I have a candle open right here next to me right now. It's not burning, but it smells really good, so I have it open so I could smell it. But I don't like burning candles. I use wax melts and like a little wax burner things. But when Cosmo was a kitten, I was burning candles, right? And he could smell it. And I went to go use the restroom. I was in the bathroom and I heard him start like screaming or like meowing really loudly. And then I basically had to like rush out of the bathroom, and then I found him and he had burned off like some of his whiskers because he went to go smell it, and like the flame caught his whiskers on fire. But it was like ever since that, I was just scared of like, what if I burn a candle and I'm not looking and you know, what if I'm not looking one day and they go to smell it and they just like burn off their whiskers? So let's talk about the board. Today we built the Ergo. You can see you have your indicators down here. I would say the biggest thing that is like quote new is the diffusers in the alphas. You see these? I changed it to yellow to match with the keycaps, but these are a new thing with the Ergo. So it's on both sides, so it's pretty neat. So looking at the back, you have this weight and then you have this badge. So these are separate. You can pick your color weight and then you can also pick the color badge. And then you have the 4 long feet, so these are adhesive. One thing to note is that there are no like harsh corners. So you'll see these have all been shaved off right here, but then the corner is still rounded. So you'll see there's like a curvy, still rounded. And then this corner part is rounded. So it does use ball catch, so it's pretty easy to assemble, disassemble. So you just put it push it up like that. Here you have the separate PCBs and separate plates, and they are held together by the magnetic connectors that you see right here. So this is the kernel. So it acts as the tent, the internal weight, and the accent piece on the outside. So this is like a multi-functioning piece. So this is only visible on the USB port side, but you don't actually see it from the front lip side. And here you can see this is where it adds the angle. If you look here, these indents in the case is also what helps align it. So this is the gasket that you would put on here. It would align itself right here, like so. So not only do you have it aligned right here, but then you also have this middle piece to align it. And then the gaskets on the PCB, there's only 3 pieces. This one in the middle, where the tent happens, is actually one continuous long piece. All the gasket mounting points are on the PCB, meaning you can do plateless if you like. You would just slide this one in right here, and then slide this one in right here. And then for the alignment of these, right, you want to find where this lip is. You see how that bottom has this like little part that sticks out? Essentially, you would just slide this in right here, and then this should just slide nicely in right there. So find wherever the part sticks out, and then you just push it in like that. And then after you've done that, it should just like snap into place. So very easy to assemble and disassemble. You have a couple different anchor points to make sure that you're like fully aligned correctly. And then taking it apart is as easy as just like pulling this off. This is the indicator diffuser. This is installed on top like this. This is where the diffuser for the LED. So once you have like your switches and everything assembled, just snap it on, make sure that it's aligned and not moving. Take this top piece and you just pop it on. Done. So simple. I will talk about the diffuser pieces because there was some confusion. So the plate, it has these cutouts for the diffusers that you see right here. The orientation of it does matter. There's a long side and there's a short side, right? This is the top of the plate. You want to take this long part. You basically want to push it underneath the plate like this. So this is the top side, this is the back side, and then this is what it would look like. You have the stopper at the back of the plate, like this. So when you assemble or disassemble, this will always stay in place. Whereas like if you were to install it the other way with the short side going on top, if for whatever reason it gets hit or anything, just like that. Whenever I first installed these, it was weird in the sense of like, I'm so used to there being a void. When I finally saw that there was something filling the gaps, it was a little strange. And it doesn't go like underneath the keycap, because if you look, if you press it down, you can see that you'll actually see the diffuser. It slightly goes above the bottom of the keycap, but you don't have to worry about it shifting because you've installed it underneath, right? And if you're like, well, what if I use those and then I can't use the foam, right? They have the cutouts. So you can use the diffusers and foam still. Like they've already done the cutouts. The PE foam has the cutouts too. If you do plateless, there's no plate for it to mount and it will shift and it's not recommended. But if you don't use the diffusers, while you look at it from the front like this, if you're ever to turn to the side, it will blast your eyes. It will start May 22nd, so there's a few days before it happens. So check this out. You have NeoErgo. This is the Type K. This is the Type K from the USB port side. This is the NeoErgo. This is much taller. This is a bit more clear. Type K, NeoErgo. Type K has a bigger tint. Like you can just look at the difference between the two wrist rests. This one I could pick up maybe with one hand. This one I cannot. But my final thoughts for this board is, if you wanted to try Atlas, I would get this board personally. For like 150, why not? So I didn't mention this, but you can see this badge is the circles for the orbit. This weight has the cutouts for these circles, and that's where you get it from the badge. These little accent pieces are from the badge. That's the build. Thank you QK and Neo for sending it out to me. I like this board a lot. Big fan of it.